long. They suffocate every time. So literally, it is totally nothing. The number of teenage pregnancies is really alarming. I don't know where we're going to start from. Maybe we're going to go for skills learning, coupled with thematic curriculum. You know, these children are drilled from P1 to P4 in the local language. Then abruptly they are taken to now to English. Then they do their exams in English.
And compete with a pupil, student from city parents who was from nursery. Nursery. It has been English. Yes.
And at our place, you know, nursery is a luxury. It's highly paid for, and our parents cannot afford it. Now, as if that is not enough insult has been added to the injury by making them again study in the local language, and then after that, they are made to compete with people who have been all through in the English world and who have been coached. There's a lot of material pumped. Our teachers have now taken to say, oh, our payment is so little. Even as their payments are little, they are still there. Now, I'm a teacher. My first profession was education before I went to do law. But now they don't even care. I think they are living their own lives. Recently, we really knew Terego had now gone to the dogs. Until when we started as people of Terego who are at least in the diaspora and within to collect some little funds, and we had to sensitize the teachers, we had to take them through trainings, we had to give them hope. And that is how I managed to get at least 46 out of the P7s who sat. And
46 at first grade?
First grade.
In the whole district?
In the whole district. Okay. And that was really a blessing.
Out of how many primary schools?
We have 70, I think 70 or 73 primary schools.
So 73 primary schools managing to get 46 first graders?
Yeah, even as if that is not enough. My own sub-county for the last 3 years has never given a single first grade. Now, in this year, they gave one.
Now, Honorable, of course, you leaders are meant to motivate students. So perhaps what have you put in place to motivate other students so that they can always excel, pass in first grade, and get to better secondary school?
You know, now we get teachers who are from Kampala, who have been examiners and so forth, to go and have refresher moments with our pupils and students. And we have a Terego Development Forum, and we buy past papers. You know, most of our village schools interact with the examination past papers during time of exams. So, but this time we decided to deliberately do that. And now me, as a woman member of parliament, by the way, I slept on paparas for a very long time. And I know this is what happens to most of my colleagues and friends in the villages. So what I did was I bought 4-inch mattresses, and then I bought books, pens, sets, and the boxes. And you know, when other children saw this, I'm telling you, they said they want to read until they read and get first grade. Whether there will be 1,000, I should be able to give all of them what I've started. So it's like motivation. And when I'm in the village, if you cannot speak English to me, then don't come near. Children like me. When I'm passing, they run to me. But now you can only run to me and sustain it if you now speak English. Because when I arrive to them, I speak to them in English.
Well, thank you very much, Honorable. Yes, Ivan. As a student of Chambogo University, Chambogo is known for actually producing teachers, but also engineers. Now, let's look at the plight of our education sector, especially education in the rural areas. When the lockdown came knocking on our doors, most students went back home. So how are they finding it to study where they are in the villages? How are they connecting?
Thank you very much. As you have said, Chambogo is a university which produces first-class teachers and first-class engineers. That one, no doubt. There is no university in Uganda that outcompetes it. And I'm very happy that now Honorable has also identified it, that our system is lacking. And She has talked about motivating and doing all that, giving people hope. Very excellent, it is good. But is that hope enough? Of course, we must now get a lasting solution to this problem. Otherwise, going there and we speak beautiful words, it is not enough. And the government has got the role. And actually, I'm very happy that now here we are with one of the people who can approach the people responsible. It has got the responsibility to revise the education policy. Because now if you look at schools in Western, you look at schools in Central, you look at schools in Eastern and in Northern, you may think that there is America, there is New York, there is South Sudan, and there is Congo.
Exactly.
There is, I remember there's some place I went to in Eastern Uganda, that is in Teso, and I was so surprised that even in the same area, they have places they call Johannesburg, and those ones they call Soweto.
You see? So I'm wondering, the whole district getting 46 students, for me, my former school, all the students passed in first grade.
It has been like 15 or 14.
You see?
It was too much.
So for me, I'm not surprised with what is happening in the sector. Reason being, there has not been even distribution of teachers and materials. Because now you find that, to me, I am not convinced. The government has the duty. The teacher who teaches in Chitende, who teaches here in Navsunsa, can equally the same go and teach in those schools. Well, instead of hiring those teachers for 1-2 days, bring them on board and they start teaching daily.
Well, if you can hold on to your point here, yes, Honorable. You have always wondered, teachers train ideally in the same schools, same universities, same colleges, because teachers from Chambogo, Makerere, they are the various teachers in the rural setting and in the urban setting. So how come that when it comes to results, I mean, one would wonder that perhaps these are teachers who came from a different university and teachers teaching in a rural setting came from a different university.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't only associate it only with the teachers, but I think we have both parents and teachers. One, let's go to government. We have decentralization policy, and we have a national training, teachers training colleges in regions. So you find a teacher who has gone to NTC Moni and is teaching in Terego, recruited, and we are from Arua district and now called Terego district. So no exposure. Two, the fact that you keep this teacher in the same environment, or if you rotate him, you know, we have district service commissions that recruit the teachers. So virtually, I don't think I have any teacher in Terego from Western Uganda or something. Because after we went into decentralization, mostly
even at secondary level.
No, secondary level is fairer. But you know, basics. If you really want good performance, secondary. One school in my district gave in senior 4 53 students in first grade, and there was no one in fourth grade. Yeah, that is 1D progressive. But you know, you really need to start by foundation. I had a meeting with the 1D progressive, and they told me our challenge is from primary. Most of these students would have all been in first grade, but they did not do well in English. The foundation of English interpretation and you know, to conceptualize ideas, everything is taught now in English. So it would be good if we treated the local language like a subject and taught to them. Two, when these children are in primary, that is where the brains are developing. Now, these children are poorly fed. Somebody goes to school, when the person has eaten nothing, returns back home, finds there's nothing, waits to eat supper or dinner. And then you expect this child really to perform? Look at parents in urban settings. You find a parent rushing in the morning, dropping a child to school. And as the child is running to class, oh, baby, I love you. You dare me. But how many parents in the village in the morning as you're running to school say, oh, I love you, my baby, I love you, my child, go. Times you go with fever. No one even wants to know if you're sick. What I have done as a woman MP, at least every year, at least every quarter of the year, at least every half of the year, 3 times, I almost reached all my villages. I stopped it because of COVID. But I am every other day, once I'm in the district, I'm on radio. And I make sure my constituency listens. That members, let's look after children. It is easy to look after children. Now, if the child's brain is not properly developed
Yes.
with good food, what do you expect? And then the teachers are busy on motorbikes doing boda business because they say right now we don't have any source of income. So
and actually, we, Honorable, we run a risk of most teachers not going back to teach, even when schools open, because now some teachers, because of the lockdown and its associated effects, some of them got other things to do, and they are finding them more lucrative than actually teaching. Yes, let's get back to Ivan. Of course, here, how do we bridge the gap between rural schools and urban schools? How to bridge the gap between the rural students and the urban students?
I want us to first understand that the quality of education, both in urban and rural, is different. And the way we handle and treat those teachers in rural and urban, it is different. When you look at the salary those teachers are paid, it is totally a younger salary, and it is a lot of problems associated on that salary. And another thing, I think when we hear the term teachers, we tend to think that they are custodians of knowledge. Those people need to be exposed. They need to research. They need, actually, teachers are the best students. They should be exposed to many sources.
Every time a teacher should be learning.
Because the moment you risk a teacher going to class when he's not having knowledge, trust me, you'll get a half-baked student. And I think, I'm not saying so, but if you find the whole district cannot even raise 50 students, you may start thinking of that. Then, away from that, when we come to, I want to assure you people that we are complaining of rural education. If we are not serious, you'll find in a country like Uganda, you'll find a doctor in urban centers. A doctor will marry an engineer and they produce a lawyer. In those village schools, a houseboy will marry a house girl and they will produce a compound cleaner. And you'll find a lot of inequality because the education is not good.
Thank you very much. Let's get to Honorable. Honorable, of course, Ivan is bringing something very interesting, but this takes us back to back in the days. You went to school in Terego, and you managed to get 5 at primary.
6,
Actually, it's a super grade at that level. Now, let's get to look at this, because so many, all the big boys and girls we have around town now went to those primary schools, rural. They made it and went to good secondary schools. What happened then, or what was happening then that actually is not happening now?
Yeah, thank you. You know, those years we used to have head teachers and teachers who are so committed, really committed to their work. They want to ensure excellency. But right now it is not the same. People just, they're there because the timetable says so. They are busy thinking teachers in urban areas are being paid better. The parents are able to pay more PTA money. Maybe salary can cut across, but again, you know, the income of parents in the rural area is a little lower. But those days, the issue of paying teachers through banks was not there. But you find a committed head teacher, picks his bicycle, rushes to the bank, picks this money, comes, you find teachers lining up, they pick the money, tomorrow there is meat. But this time you can eat meat anytime they want. So there are so many avenues as a teacher. You can pick a loan and then you get your motorbike. Their heart remains in the streets to carry people for boda.
But Honorable, you must also find a reason why teachers are no longer committed the way they used to be.
Yeah, okay.
And the times have changed.
In your view, Ivan, why is there less commitment?
Less commitment is because of poor pay. That is the major reason. Because now times have changed. You cannot do anything without money. When you are poor, you have nothing to tell the country. So,
Ivan, do you believe that now for anyone to work in a local government setting, if you don't pay extra maybe allowance, people are not interested. Like when I went for yoga, the complaint was Imoga has no money for monitoring, for supervision, for as in allowance. People just tag themselves on allowance.
Do you know why they
There's
ask
no
those
humanity.
allowances, Honorable?
Why?
They ask those allowances because you people are being given allowances even where it is not necessary.
But Ivan, do you know how much we do? Do you know, it's until you are in my shoes.
I'm not saying that you are not doing. I'm not saying that you are not doing the job. You are doing the job, but even those teachers, the way they are executing their duties, you find that teacher on the bicycle is
thank you very much, Ivan, for that. Honorable, let's have an orderly discussion. Stay tuned to this TV, and we are looking at education in the rural setting, and how best do we have an education that actually works for all, that is not really creating first class, second class citizens. Now, Ivan did talk about something, the motivation, and this has everything to do with the mindset. Because ideally, back in the days, teachers were poorly paid as compared to today.
Exactly.
Even the facilities then were worse as compared to today, but they managed to get really results. So let's look at how do we change the mindset of the teacher so that they can derive satisfaction in having their children pass, in having their people pass, rather than actually having material things.
Well, for me, I want to say something like this. There is some money in UPE. I want to address myself to primary, because when you have a good primary education, then secondary just becomes a walkover. Now, the UPE fund, you'll find a cocoon of teachers, maybe the head teacher and a few, wanting to justify, because all the money, there is where this one goes in this hall, this one goes here, and this one goes here. Then there's where you can reallocate. You'll find very few people standing on this money. I used to have children in Kauku, Kachindu primary school. You'll cry with the allocation of the primary head teacher and the board chair, the PTA chair. You know, it's all about defense. What do you want her to do? Kumbe, they are eating this money. Now, you cannot treat a rural teacher the same as an urban teacher. Reasons that the parents in an urban area get more money. And two, these teachers in urban area, they rent. Food, they don't even have anywhere they can get food in a low cost. But you go to a rural area, even pupils, the rate of digging, if like maybe an acre or half an acre, if you get somebody to dig for you, it's a lot cheaper. Even you'll find food prices are lower.
Well, thank you for that, Honorable. Now let's get to Ivan. As a young man, of course, I know you are full of ideas, and of course, at times those ideas, when you get into the real world, you find real at times really they may not be applicable. Now let's look at the teacher, the rural teacher. How do we motivate the rural teacher?
Thank you very much.
So that perhaps he can know that, look here, back in the days, schools in the rural setting used to compete favorably with schools in the urban setting.
Thank you very much. This world is bankrupt of ideas, and majority of Ugandans now are biased about the youth, that we are talking about things that cannot happen. But not until the youth have been involved actively in the policies of the government, that's when we are going to have the real education. Now, in Germany, a teacher is looked at as a senior citizen, is given all the respect and courtesy. That one is the best motivation. The Chancellor of Germany, she motivates teachers, and they mold every other person. They mold an MP, they mold the lawyer, and etc. and etc. So now here, this line we are drawing, that an urban teacher and a village teacher, the problems are the same. Because if an urban teacher is having a family equally the same, a village teacher is having a family. There is no teacher who doesn't want his son or daughter to study from Nauriango or Budo, because they know the environment you are exposed to will determine the results you are going to bring. And again, when you look at the system, yes, these urban have passed with first graders. It is okay, very good. But now, where are they going? Really, for me, I think 2 days back, I have passed Nakawa Street. I have seen Chambogo students, 5 of them, just waiting for graduation. They are selling PK and masks. Without COVID, I don't want to use COVID as an excuse, but I know we cannot find a perfect world whereby you will find that the entire person is employed. But let us engage the graduates, and let us even change the way, you see, even the way Honorable is discussing it, we are focusing on getting results. But the chemistry we know, the biology and history we know, is not helping us to earn a living. To me, I think we should go in an environment, as a student, we expose him, and he becomes a round student. That if he's having a talent of football, is the spub. They develop that talent. If he's having a talent of
in other words, developing a student or developing a product that can be anywhere.
Yes.
Yes. Now, Honorable, they came up with an issue. They suggested that we should have contracts, especially for head teachers. Like you said, back in the days, the head teachers really. So that you've been a head teacher of Nakapiripiri Primary School. For the last 5 years, they've not had a first grade. Why should you remain there? Secondly, they have also proposed that there should be this issue of rotating teachers, transferring teachers. That teachers perhaps from one sub-county or from one district or maybe from one town council should be rotated around. But you find that somebody comes to Akibu Primary School for 20 years, he even retires when they have never left that school. So what ought to be done? Because I think that kind of mobility of the teachers can one way also improve the standards.
You are right. On Monday, today's Friday, on Monday I went to Post Bank, Arua. I got a teacher whom I met 13 years ago, and then I asked him, oh, where are you now? He said, he's still in the same school where I last saw him. And then I asked him, what is the value addition? For me, I go by rotation. Because once you overstay in a place, it becomes normal. Just like a member of parliament who has been there for years and year in, year out, and say, thinks, I own these electorates. It's routine. I mean, what is the difference? But the truth is, this is academics. Until you see what the other head teacher has to offer, you'll always think your mother is the best cook. Until you eat from another mother's pot, you'll think this other mother of mine is the best.
Is the best cook.
Yeah. So it is very crucial and imperative that we should start rotating teachers, not within districts, but across districts, even across regions, so that they wake up. I love prisons, by the way. Prison service, today you hear this officer is in this prison, before you realize has been thrown somewhere. But 13 years down the road, you're here. 13,
15, 20.
20, you're here. Now you don't mind when they say, please, you make schemes of work. Nothing. You know, the other day I met head teachers, I said, we need to reinstate debate. From the time thematic curricula came in place, do you know that debates just vanished?
At primary level.
At primary
Not
level.
in all schools, in some.
Okay, especially where I come from. In the whole district, there is no debate. I told them, competitions in debate, the winner, I will be the one to